In this video, we'll be covering the last CeMAP unit, CeMAP 3. In our last two videos, we covered the first modules, CeMAP 1 and CeMAP 2, and today we'll cover the last CeMAP unit, known as CeMAP 3. Although you don't have to take CeMAP in a linear order, it is highly recommended that you do. We would recommend that you check out our last two videos for some additional context and information if you think you need it. In our last two videos, we covered what is CeMAP, what a mortgage advisor is, and what they do. So we won't repeat ourselves on here, but we will link those videos in the description if you'd like to check this out. Succeeding this video, there will be a CeMAP Q&A where we will discuss all of the frequently asked questions regarding CeMAP. So now, let's get into the qualification. Module 3 of CeMAP is Assessment of Mortgage Advice Knowledge, abbreviated to ASSM. ASSM is the last of the three modules for the CeMAP qualification and is commonly known as CeMAP 3 and consists of one unit, which is Unit 7. This unit consists of 6 case studies, each with 10 linked multiple choice questions. It is worth noting that this is the first unit of CeMAP qualification where we have to deal with a case study, so your revision will need to be tweaked in order to accommodate this type of exam. We will cover this more later in the video. The exam can be taken at a time and location of your choice at over 150 Pearson VUE test centres across the UK, with the benefit being that you will receive the results on the same day. You will have 12 months to complete each module and sit the exam with your first exam included in the registration fee for each module. If you wish to retake the exam, you will need to pay a resit fee, which we'll cover more on this later. The entire length of CeMAP is 6 to 12 months, so it's likely that CeMAP 3 will take anywhere from 2 to 4 months to complete. The beneficial thing with the CeMAP qualification, stated by the LIBF, is that everything is online and you can study at a pace that suits you. Meaning, unlike more traditional qualifications where you have to take hours of in-person study only to wait weeks for the exam result, the LIBF allows students to fit the qualification alongside their work and personal commitments. Beacon Financial Training, one of the LIBF recognised accredited learning support providers, state that with CeMAP 3, these case studies are practical examples of the client cases that you may face. Once you've read the case study, you are presented with 10 multiple choice questions. Again, this is a skill you need to learn and practice. The case studies are very realistic, which means you'll be provided with some information that is superfluous and unnecessary. Much like what a client will tell you when you are sat with them. You need to learn to select the most appropriate information and decide the best thing to do. Now to cover the cost of CeMAP. Each CeMAP module costs £190, bringing the total qualification cost to £570. Additional fees can also be incurred, such as an exam resit fee of £160. Alongside this, there are optional costs like the CeMAP revision tool, which for Module 3 is £90, or for all 3 CeMAP modules is £240. Other optional costs include specimen papers at £28 per paper, Ask the Expert, which is an online tutor support at £30 for 3 months, and finally, accredited learning providers, where the price can vary depending on the provider. Now to cover how to study for CeMAP 3. As mentioned earlier, Unit 7 requires you to undertake multiple choice questions based on a case study. On the whole, the exam will look very similar to the other CeMAP units. The only difference is that you will be just presented with a case study that you need to dissect in order to correctly answer the questions. This will be useful for you as you likely can use the same methods used to study for CeMAP 1 and 2. We recommend a few tips before you start revising. 1. Utilise practice questions. The best way to revise for this module is by knowing what the exam will look like, as it will be different from CeMAP 1 and 2. Unlike the 2 previous modules, where you can create your own questions, you'll be able to do this to the same extent as this module are so in-depth and niche. We definitely recommend, if you're in a position to, that you invest in extra study content that you can get your hands on. This will give you the best understanding of how the case studies are laid out and what the examiner will be expecting from you. Make sure that if you do purchase any additional study material, that it's from one of the accredited learning support providers. Alternatively, there are many free videos and blogs out there that will give you a good base understanding of the exams. The other tips are ones that we have mentioned in our A Guide to CeMAP 1 video, so as we mentioned earlier, definitely check them out if you would benefit from this. We'll put the link to this in the description. Just before we wrap up, it's worth mentioning the final video in this series will cover frequently asked questions for CeMAP. So if you have any questions you want answering, please do drop them in the comments section below so that we can answer them on this video. For most people, CeMAP 3 is the final step in achieving a full CeMAP qualification and marks the start of an exciting future career as a mortgage advisor. We really hope that your CeMAP studies have been successful and that you have a happy and successful career as a mortgage advisor. Before you do qualify, it's really important that you have a plan for what you want to do after the qualification. We recommend that you check out our dedicated page for mortgage advisor jobs so you can see what's available in your area. We have a variety of roles across the UK that could be of real interest to those who've just gained their CeMAP qualification. We will also link our mortgage advisor playlist for you in the description box, which contains lots of useful content regarding the career and market. We recommend you have a free, confidential, no pressure chat with one of our experienced financial services recruitment consultants, as they'll be able to talk through any options that may be available to you, advising and supporting you throughout the recruitment process free of charge.